So I wanted to talk to you all, and I wanted to share a message and honestly glean from my own life, as we normally do, about what life looks like or what it might look like after you get out of isolation. Okay, so I myself am currently going through the post phases of isolation. All right, not too long ago, probably within the last 6 to 8 months, I myself was broken free from my isolation and my spiritual wilderness and the grueling preparation season that every chosen one is called to. And so if you can resonate with that message, you're probably wondering, what now? What next? And what do I do? What's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing on this earth? What am I called to do? How do I know? These are all valid questions. These are all great questions. And I'm here to tell you, I don't know, okay? I don't know for myself. I don't know for you, but I know that you are called. I know that you are chosen, and I know that God called you for a specific reason, season, purpose, and for a life bigger than your mind's eye can perceive right now, okay? So I may not know exactly what you're called to, but I can definitely help you make sense of what life looks like after isolation so that you can begin to walk on that path that God has already laid out for you and called you to, okay? So in the life of a chosen one, there are 3 distinct phases that are going to occur immediately after isolation, and they're pretty linear in my experience, okay? You're gonna move through these phases in a pretty cyclic or linear fashion, okay? It's not like they're going to be concurrent. It's going to be one after the other, and it's going to be distinct phases that you're going to move through, that your environment is going to create, okay? Your environment will create these phases for you to move through, and then you'll know that this is the beginning of your soul coming online, so to speak, okay? If this resonates, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you all are thinking, what stage you all are in, if you can identify with any of these, and how you knew you were in one of the stages post-isolation, all right? So let's start with the first stage, okay? Your old life is going to collapse, okay? When you come out of isolation, you've probably been in a holding pattern for a while. You've probably been underground, preparing, being stripped, being pruned, being processed, okay, receiving prophetic messages, receiving clues about what you might be doing on the other side. And as soon as God decides, okay, divine timing and alignment, as soon as God decides that it's time for you to move forward into your next season, your old life has to collapse, okay? This is inevitable. There's just no way that you can journey into the new version of yourself, into the healed, whole, restored version of yourself while holding on to your past life, okay? So whatever life you were living when you were in isolation, whatever life you were living before isolation, all of that has to collapse, all of that has to end. It might be painful, it might be unexpected, it's definitely going to be unpredictable, but everything has to go. Everything must go. The old you cannot journey to the environment, to the purpose, to the path, to the place, to the promised land in that old body or with that old mindset, okay? Old keys can't open new doors. So in order for God to take you through that new door that he's been promising to open for you, okay, or close that door he's been promising to shut for you, he's gonna have to collapse that old life so that you can move forward as the refined version of yourself, okay? Let me know if this is resonating. So you're gonna go through a collapse. Your life is gonna end. Nothing is gonna look the same. Everything is gonna fall apart. It's gonna be messy, but even in the midst of chaos, you will have peace, okay? That's one of the defining signs that you are going through a collapse or that you are going through something spirit-led, is that even in the midst of everything changing, being destroyed, falling apart, collapsing around you, you're gonna have inner peace. That is exactly where the Holy Spirit wants you, okay? Let me slow down. Even though it's getting hot and spicy over here, I still wanna give you all good quality video. My God, it's like 90 degrees. So your life's gonna collapse. It's gonna fall apart. You won't be able to control how that happens. But by now, especially going through the wilderness, you would have succumbed to observer mode anyway, okay? So you would already be just observing how things are changing around you and surrendering to the process. God is going to take care of you in the collapse. God's going to take care of you. He's going to get you to where you need to be. He's going to let you know what needs to collapse and what can move forward with you, whether that's people, places, ideas, identities, relationships, okay? The old has to fall apart so that the new can fall together. And so when we think about that, there are some relationships that are not going to make it to your next season. There are some friendships, there are some exes, there are some business partnerships, businesses that may even collapse. You know, everything has to be clear. The old has to be cleared so that the new can come in. And it's impartial. It's really impartial to any and everything that just simply cannot vibrate with you at a higher level. So if you know you're vibrating higher now, low level frequencies and vibrations are going to stay where they are because you're actually vibrating at a higher frequency. Okay, so everything low level is going to stay or fall apart, and you are actually going to be ascending energetically, frequentially, and physically. Okay, so a lot will collapse, but that's just making space for the new. So don't freak out, don't fall apart, don't crash out. Don't begin to, I mean, it's natural in our human reaction to become nervous or to become scared or worried or preoccupied, but the wilderness taught you that storms will rage and all God has to say is peace, be still, and that storm will silence itself. And if it doesn't, God is going to take care of you in the storm. Okay, so yeah, the collapse it's pretty messy. It's when the new version of you no longer resonates with the environment that used to hold you, and so everything that doesn't resonate will fall away spiritually, energetically, relationally, etc. Okay, so this is where you're becoming distant from friends, you're becoming detached from family members, you're able to walk away from things that no longer serve you with ease. Okay, whereas hobbies and interests that you had before in your old environment begin to become uninteresting or boring to you, or you just feel like you just outgrown certain things. This is the collapse. All of it is normal and necessary for you to be able to strip away the identity from your previous season to be able to embody the energy of your new season. Okay, so that's collapse in a nutshell. Let me know if there's anyone here that can resonate with that stage. I went through that stage pretty quickly. I feel like my life collapsed like in a matter of weeks, but it you know, I didn't catch on until I was in a new environment. And that's the biggest sign of collapse, that you will probably be moving physically. Like, you can have a spiritual collapse of a life, but in order for you to physically start to resonate with the new, God will more than likely relocate you. It may not be your permanent resting place, it may be a holding place, and that's what happened to me. So I left I left the States for an overseas assignment, and so my life in the States collapsed in that area as well. And I was moved to an overseas assignment where my life was completely different than where I was just a few days ago before traveling. And I just knew I was never going to return to the life that I had previously in the States, in many ways, not just because I was separate from, you know, where I lived before. It was just everything was changing drastically, radically, very quickly. I mean, there was speed with my collapse, and then there was like a quiet period. So that moves us into the void. That was a really great transition. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So the void, that is the second linear stage. After collapse, you're going to enter into what we call the void, the black space. I've heard witness protection program before. Let me know if any of those terms sound familiar. You're going to be moving into the void, which is exactly what it sounds like. This is where your old self has died, the old self has collapsed, and you're aware of it, okay? But the new self hasn't really come online yet. So ego is dead, ego's crushed, the old is gone, the dead is gone, buried, there's just no turning back, and you're aware. The biggest part of the void is that you're aware, there's no turning back. A lot of people will struggle to go back to the life they had before the collapse in some small way or in a major way, like physically wanting to go back to where you lived before your life collapsed because it's familiar. And that is probably the biggest reason why there is a void, because that's where you really understand that the old is dead and gone. There's just no way you're going back to that life, and you become at peace with it. Like if the collapse was chaotic, the void is where you find that peace, and you come to terms with the fact that your old life is in fact over, and that a new one is taking form that you just can't see right now. Okay, so that's something that I want you all to keep in mind, that it is not something that you can actively control. These are phases that are just going to unfold in your life as you journey along. The more you surrender, I don't want to say the quicker, but the more, you know, easily things will move for you. If you try to resist the collapse, resist the void, you're really just pushing against, you know, the universe's forces. Literally, the universe's forces and God's will are literally trying to push you into the new. And if you're resisting it, you're just delaying your own destiny. So my suggestion is, in the mess and the chaos and the confusion, in the not knowing, surrender. Okay, surrender. This is the part of life where you just you just allow. Okay, relax, release, and surrender. You know you can trust God. He's gotten you through the wilderness. I know it seems counterproductive for you to enter into another void or to enter into another state of confusion, or but honestly, uncertainty and unpredictability is where God does his best work, because you're no longer in charge. Okay, do you hear me? You're no longer in charge. You're no longer moving the needle yourself. You're allowing what has already been unfolding, and you're not resisting, you're releasing, you're surrendering. And that is where God's best work can be manifested in you, because you're allowing what has already been unfolding for months, years, decades. Okay, so the void is confusing. If the collapse didn't completely flatline you, the void is where you're really going to come to terms with the fact that the old is dead and gone, but you're not quite sure what the new is, but you can never go back to the way things were before. And that's incredibly liberating. It's incredibly freeing. It's incredibly stabilizing and destabilizing at the same time, which is kind of crazy. But if you can imagine it, it's incredibly stabilizing to know that your old life is gone, and a little bit destabilizing because you have no idea what's next, but you just trust. Your trust and your surrender and your intuition, your intuitive knowing that you're about to step into something beautiful, because you can't even see it, which means your purpose to create it. Okay, you know that you're going to be stepping into something beautiful because you can trust an unknown future to a known God. Okay. Let me know if this is resonating with you all, because this is like literal lived experiences. All right.